up next in Burbank On Demand, using sweat equity to break into the Burbank housing market. We'll sit down with some families to see how they're enjoying their Habitat Suite home. Burbank's public libraries are about more than just books. We'll check out how they're bringing the community together in new and creative ways. Burbank Water and Power's newest edition of Currents is on its way to your mailbox. We've got a sneak peek of what's inside. And the National Teacher of the Year is back in her Burbank classroom. She tells us in her own words about her year abroad as an ambassador for public education. It's all next in Burbank On Demand.
Hello, I'm Drew Sugars, Public Information Officer for the City of Burbank. Welcome to this edition of Burbank On Demand, the show about people and places in Burbank that you can watch whenever you want on demand. Now, this month, we're coming to you from inside the Buena Vista Library, which recently marked 11 years since it opened its doors to the public. A little bit later in the show, we will take a closer look at the services the City of Burbank's libraries have to offer, and I'm willing to bet it's probably more than you know. But first, let's see what's new in Burbank.
Welcome to What's New in Burbank. 3 City of Burbank employees were honored for their exemplary performance by the Burbank Elks Club during its annual Community Service Awards dinner on January 8th. The Police Officer of the Year award went to Burbank Police Officer Christian Diaz for his exceptional contributions to the community. Officer Diaz's commitment to public safety resulted in the arrest of more than 50 people for driving under the influence over the past year. Eric Rowley was named Burbank Firefighter of the Year for his firefighting skills, technological expertise, and willingness to take on several projects, including an instrumental role in the transition from paper to electronic reporting in the field. And the Recycle Center's Cray Hampel was named Burbank City Employee of the Year for his tireless work promoting the city's zero waste goal. The Public Works employee also was one of the founders of Burbank's volunteer Bike Angel program, which collects and refurbishes used bicycles for distribution during the holidays. Here's your chance to get a behind-the-scenes look at the criminal justice system. Applications are now being accepted for the Burbank Police Department's Winter-Spring Community Academy. Participants get to interact with officers from various bureaus and assignments as they learn about several operations, including investigations, officer training, animal control, and SWAT. The 9-week course meets once a week and is offered in English, Spanish, Armenian, and to the hearing impaired. Applications may be picked up at the police department or downloaded from the police department website and should be returned no later than Friday, January 31st. Do you have a warm coat you'd like to donate to a veterans organization or a homeless shelter? Well, the City of Burbank's Retired Senior Volunteer Program, or RSVP, is teaming up again this year with the One Warm Coat organization to conduct a 1-week coat drive in conjunction with the Dr. Martin Luther King Day of Service program, which is an annual answer to King's question, "What are you doing for others?" Over the last 3 years, the RSVP program has organized a One Warm Coat drive as its National MLK Day project, resulting in more than 900 coats provided to community agencies. This year, the coats will go to local veterans groups and to the homeless. RSVP will be collecting coats from January 13th through the 17th. Drop-off locations in Burbank are City Hall, the Community Services Building, the Police Department, and the Jocelyn Adult Center. The staff at the Burbank Animal Shelter is committed to finding a home for all of its animals. For a short time, the animal shelter is offering you the opportunity to adopt specially chosen dogs, cats, and rabbits at a reduced rate.
Some of our long-term residents are here not because of behavior problems, but because of the way they look or because of their breeds. We want everyone to keep in mind that each individual animal is their own animal. It's not just a breed thing. So keep that in mind. You could have a 75-pound pit bull like Anchor who's great with kids and who's cuddly and affectionate, just as sweet and cuddly as a beagle.
To help these animals get the homes they deserve, the animal shelter has cut its adoption price to only $20. This offer will end on January 19th, so stop by soon. The Burbank Animal Shelter is between Costco and the Empire Center at 1150 North Victory Place. You can also go to the shelter website at thevbas.org to check out the animals online. The Workforce Connection, which had been relocated for a year, is back in its old location. Its permanent home, the City of Burbank Administrative Services Building at the corner of 3rd Street and Olive Avenue, was closed for a year as it was getting an up-to-code upgrade in case of an earthquake, commonly known as a seismic retrofitting. The Workforce Connection is a free job resource center funded by a variety of governmental agencies and grant programs. Available to anyone with a valid ID and Social Security card are computers with Microsoft Office installed on them, internet access, telephones, a copier, and a fax machine for any job-related activities. The Workforce Connection is open Monday through Thursday from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. and on Fridays from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. For more information, call 818-238-JOBS. That's 818-238-5627. If you're looking for a way to get your kids to exercise and have fun at the same time, Burbank's youth baseball and softball leagues are a great way for kids in kindergarten through 9th grade to get moving. Sign-ups for Hap Minor Baseball and Ponytail Softball Leagues are being held from December 7th through February 28th at the Olive Rec Center at 1111 West Olive Avenue, Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 9:45 p.m., Saturday from 9 a.m. to 4:45 p.m., and Sunday from 1 p.m. to 4:45 p.m. For more information about baseball and softball sign-ups, call the sports office at 818-238-5330 or go to burbankca.gov. The Public Works Department wants you to know there are 3 ways to recycle your Christmas tree following the holiday season. 1, you can take it to one of 3 parks from December 26th through January 24th. Those locations are West Verdugo Park, Ralph Foy Park, and McCambridge Park. 2, you can simply leave it on your curb or alley from January 2nd through the 24th, and city crews will pick it up. And 3, you can place it in your green waste container with other yard trimmings. Just be sure to cut up the tree so the container lid closes. Remember, all trees are mulched or composted, so be sure to remove all tinsel, ornaments, and metal stands. Flock trees cannot be recycled. I'm Peter Maserlian, and this has been What's New in Burbank.
Enter any of Burbank's 3 public libraries and you will find a wide selection of books, magazines, and DVDs. But it's about more than learning. In Burbank, our public libraries bring people together, encouraging conversation, community engagement, and of course learning. In our segment we call Check It Out, Colleen Duffy Felix explores Burbank's innovative libraries and how they're providing information in new and exciting ways.
One of the engineering feats that took place.
Public libraries are not just about books these days. The 21st Century Library is a center for lifelong learning. Today's libraries open up possibilities to read, to listen, to view, to interact.
We think that the library is really a community place that's becoming more and more so, and we know that people come here to learn, so they want to learn in lots of different ways.
And when you eat it, are you supposed to chew with your mouth open?
To start with the basics, the ever-popular story time is one of the best ways to introduce little ones to the joy of reading. But the Burbank libraries go beyond books. They have many interesting and fun programs to enjoy, like the Lego Club, and events like the Family Film Festival.
I really like to take the kids to the library. It's a good destination. I like to get them used to coming here, and it's wonderful that they show these movies for us and gives us something to do with our day.
If you're planning your own movie night, the DVD selection at each library is impressive. Most DVDs are available for free, but check out the special collection of DVDs that rent for only $1. They're usually the most popular. All proceeds from the rentals are used to buy new DVDs. If digital media is your thing, the library is also a great resource for ebooks and e-audiobooks. It's easy to browse the ebook selection on the library's website, burbanklibrary.com. Just go to the magic wall to find and download ebooks to your electronic device. The library is also a place where adults who struggle with reading can get free one-on-one training to improve their reading skills. For the past 20 years, the Literacy Services Department has helped more than 1,600 adults transform their lives by learning to read. Readers of all ages know that libraries open up new worlds through books. But did you know that every year Burbank students get the opportunity to learn about and visit another country? The Sister City program is a great opportunity for students to experience a different culture. To learn more about the Sister City program, visit their website at burbanksistercity.org. Many of the programs, events, and activities would not happen if it wasn't for the Friends of the Library, a nonprofit group that provides financial and volunteer support. If you'd like to support your library, you can adopt a book, purchase books from the Friends Bookstore, or become a member of the Friends of the Library for as little as $15 per year.
We would have a very different library if it were not for the Friends of the Library, and I'm so grateful for the support that they give, both in volunteer service as well as the financial service that they provide. It's really good to have friends.
At a time when we're drowning in a sea of information, libraries more than ever help us navigate. To explore the library nearest you, check out the Central Library at 110 North Glen Oaks Boulevard, the Northwest Library at 3323 West Victory Boulevard, and the Buena Vista Library at 300 North Buena Vista. For Burbank On Demand, I'm Colleen Duffy Felix.
If you want to learn more about the City of Burbank's library services, just go to the city's main webpage, burbankca.gov, and click on the link to the library's main page.
Still to come in Burbank On Demand, a first-person account of Luther Middle School teacher Rebecca Mieliwocki's travels around the world as the National Teacher of the Year. Also, a peek inside the newest edition of Currents, BWP's magazine that's full of cool facts and tips to save money on your water and power bill. And how Habitat for Humanity is having a direct impact on the lives of families right here in Burbank. That's when Burbank On Demand continues.
So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice. And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
We couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit Ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Welcome back to Burbank On Demand. This month we're coming to you from the Buena Vista Library, and right now we're in the Children's Library, a truly beautiful facility. There's not too many places you can sit down, read a book under a tree, and still be protected from the rain. This is a great place to come down with your family, so we encourage you to do that. Now, speaking of families, 3 years ago, 8 families got word that they had been accepted to receive soon-to-be-built homes in Burbank, thanks in large part to Habitat for Humanity. Now, a lot has happened since that time, from start to finish, much of which has been documented. In this Burbank On Demand cover story, Peter Masurlian checks in on 2 of the families to find out how life in Burbank in their new homes is working out.
Alicio and Adriana Ataide and their 3 children had lived in a Burbank apartment for more than a decade when they heard about a Habitat for Humanity development in 2010. More than 100 Burbank residents expressed interest in the low-income housing development of 7 townhouses and 1 single-family home, but only 8 qualified families would eventually get to move in.
I told my wife, if it happens, that will be great. And if it is not going to be for us, then some other family in need will have it. So luckily for us, and it was a blessing, on 2011, they told us that we were one of the families receiving a house through Habitat and the City of Burbank.
In January of 2011, the 8 families got the word about what was being called the Keeler Elliot Homeownership Development. The effort was a partnership with the City of Burbank Redevelopment Agency, the Burbank Housing Corporation, and Habitat for Humanity of Greater Los Angeles.
Out of certain amount of families, we were one of the ones who were chosen, and we were finally getting to have the American dream, to have a house. And That was a very special day for us, a very memorable day.
Sandra Leva, along with her mother and son, also made the cut. She says it was a long process, but well worth it, taking more than a year from the time she was first notified of the program by mail.
When I read the letter, they say for residents of Burbank, they want to buy a house for families that are low income. So I said, why not? Maybe I qualify for that program. So that's why I interested when I look in the letter. So I say, okay, let's go try what happened.
And each of these families are going to be awarded a home.
From this scene in January 2011 to the time they moved in, about 13 months had passed. But the excitement that night never seemed to subside during that journey.
We come from a large family, but we are trying to find our own way and have a home for ourselves. And it's just me and Keely, and we love doing things together, and we just want a place to call our own.
For any family to have a place to live that they call home is one of the greatest things that could happen to any family in any part of the world. And we really thank the City of Burbank and Habitat for Humanity for this opportunity. It's a great experience for us. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
There was no doubt the property at Keeler Street and Elliot Drive was in bad shape, located in the Peyton Grismer Focus neighborhood where efforts had been made by local government and nonprofit organizations to upgrade the area.
With the exception of that corner house, those three properties there were in such bad shape. There have been so many illegal additions, so horrible, conversions. It was a state of blight that we don't often see in Burbank. And our job has always been to eradicate substandard housing and blight. But in this case, right from the very beginning, we, the agency and Burbank Housing, had a dream that perhaps these parcels could be best utilized to provide home ownership opportunities in that neighborhood, kind of capping the entire effort that is going on in Peyton Grismer. And of course, Habitat was the third partner that we needed to make this happen.
The property was in bad shape, but not too far gone to give the Burbank Fire Department a place to train before they tore it all down. In March 2011, Viking Demolition cleared the way for construction. The development would soon be providing home ownership opportunities to very low-income families and contribute to the stability of the neighborhood, developing long-term stakeholders and instilling pride in ownership. By May, they had reached another milestone marked by a wall-raising ceremony.
I would like to say that we're all very excited with this project. This means a lot to us. The possibility of owning a house, to own a house, it's a dream for many families. But for us, this is an opportunity that this dream don't become a nightmare, And so far, this means for us to see our kiddos grow up in a place, share with our neighbors, and it's going to be a great thing for us.
The 8 families would get 30-year no-interest loans from Habitat for Humanity and in return would put in 500 hours of so-called sweat equity.
And 15, 16, yeah!
Many individuals and groups volunteered on the Keeler Elliot Homeownership Development, including the Burbank Board of Realtors, who spent a day in August 2011 making some major progress on the single-family home known as Centennial House, named for Burbank's 100th birthday that year. It had gone from this to this artist's rendering to this in about a year. The families got the keys to their new homes a couple of days before Christmas 2011. Sandra Leva, her mother, and her son have been here for about 2 years now and say they couldn't be happier. She and the 7 other families were assigned the final location within the development, Leva and her family were assigned Centennial House.
That's why when I received the surprise, I said, wow, this is true. This is true. So this is amazing because I never imagined has a house in the city of Burbank, where it's a good neighbor, good city, and everything is good in the city.
The Ataide family of 5 was assigned a big townhouse with 4 bedrooms and 2.5 bathrooms. They seem to have settled in nicely as well.
Before I got in this house, I told my husband, I don't care if you need to buy here in Burbank a little apartment, 1 or 2 bedroom, but I want to live for rest of my life and here in Burbank. Oh, you're crazy, they say, it's too much money here in Burbank.
And after a hard day of work, living on a daily stress of life, coming to a place that you call home and forget about everything but your house and your family, that's the most important thing.
Reporting from the Peyton Grismer Focus neighborhood, I'm Peter Maserlian with the Burbank On Demand cover story.
Did you know that electricity and water in Burbank does not come from some out-of-town faceless utility? It comes from Burbank Water and Power, which is owned by the citizens of Burbank. BWP makes it a priority to keep customers informed of all of its programs and services. One way they do that is through a quarterly magazine called Currents. Here's BWP's Jeanette Meyer to tell us what's in the latest issue.
Hi, I'm Jeanette Meyer with Burbank Water and Power, and welcome to another edition of Currents TV. Now, Currents is a quarterly newsletter that we send out to every household in Burbank. And what I'd like to do today is share with you some of the articles that we're working on for the January 2014 issue. Now, one thing that's really important to keep in mind is that Burbank Water and Power is a community-owned utility. What that means is that we work for you. The citizens of Burbank own Burbank Water and Power. And while we're working for you, we have 3 things in mind: how to maintain competitive rates while providing the highest reliability and a very sustainable power supply. In addition to our award-winning Magnolia power plant, BWP relies on a number of energy sources to keep the electricity flowing to Burbank's residents and businesses. Renewable energy is really important to BWP. In 2007, Burbank became the first city in America to adopt the goal of 33% of our energy coming from renewable resources by the year 2020. We're at 25% right now, but with a deal recently inked, Burbank will be at our goals soon. Our renewable energy portfolio includes power from hydroelectric dams, geothermal projects, solar, wind, and we even get some renewable energy from our landfill. In the first of a series called Where Does Burbank's Power Come From?, we explain how Utah's largest windmill farm is helping to power up to 10,000 Burbank homes today. The electricity generated by these massive wind turbines travels nearly 500 miles over a series of transmission lines, including power lines in which BWP has ownership rights. In another piece, we announced a new 20-year agreement with the Copper Mountain Solar Project in Nevada. That's helping us reach our 33% goal of renewable energy. This contract will provide Burbank with 40 megawatts of solar power over the next 2 decades. That's enough clean, green energy to serve up to 40,000 homes. In another article, we showcase BWP's fleet of electric vehicles. We're now up to 13 in our fleet, with plans to keep adding electric vehicles as our fleet ages. In addition, we're looking for your input on potential sites in Burbank for possible new public electric vehicle charging stations. BWP already has 11 charging stations located at 6 different locations around town, and we've applied for a grant to add even more. And we have an article explaining how BWP's state-of-the-art fiber optic network is benefiting Burbank's public libraries and the over 1 million patrons who visit our libraries annually. City residents have access to more than 100 internet-connected computers at our city libraries. In fact, a California library survey just ranked Burbank at the top percentile for broadband capabilities, an achievement that we can all be proud of. These are just some of the stories you'll find in the latest Currents newsletter, so please look for it in your mailbox in mid-January, or you can go online to burbankwaterandpower.com and look for this and other past issues of Currents. Thank you.
BWP is also very interested in hearing from you. The utility is working on a roadmap for how it will meet Burbank's electrical needs over the next 20 years. So watch for upcoming notices from BWP about opportunities to provide your input at upcoming public meetings.
When we come back to Burbank On Demand, she visited the White House and toured the world promoting public education. National Teacher of the Year Rebecca Mieliwocki returns to Burbank with quite a story to tell. Burbank On Demand. We'll be right back.
Up to 40% of businesses never recover after experiencing a major disaster. Make a plan at Ready.gov/business.
Welcome back to Burbank On Demand. This month we're coming to you from inside the Buena Vista Library. Step back in time here on the wall. This is the site where the Buena Vista Library now stands, near the intersection of Buena Vista and Verdugo. What you see here, this building, is the former Abraham Lincoln Elementary School. Got some more history for you involving education. For the first time in 100 years, a Burbank public school teacher was named the National School Teacher of the Year. It's a huge honor that leads to a White House ceremony and a year of national and international travel to serve as the ambassador of public education in America. Well, Luther Burbank Middle School English teacher Rebecca Mieliwocki has completed her tenure as the National School Teacher of the Year. Burbank On Demand had the opportunity to meet with her and hear about her adventures firsthand in her own words in our segment, First Person.
Re-entry into the classroom after being the National Teacher of the Year during your year of recognition is a lot like when the space shuttle returns to Earth. It's very hot, it's very fast, the vehicle shakes a lot and you lose some of those clay tiles on re-entry, and hopefully the landing is smooth and everybody survives, but it's very tricky. Receiving the award from the president was the best day of my life, other than getting married and having a child, because the president and I, we had a chemistry unlike anything I was planning for.
And I have to say, she was a little goofy when I met her.
And it was so perfect. I couldn't have written it to happen better than it did, and I'll never forget it.
She was back there teasing me and asking Arnie about our basketball games and stuff. You can tell she's just got a wonderful spirit.
I am not the best teacher in America. There isn't one. All across this nation, there are millions of teachers who do the work that I do, and many do it better. But what I do have are the qualities that some of the best teachers have. I have an absolute passion for my work. I have a bottomless well of belief in my students and their potential.
I was born in Napa, California in 1968 to two public school teachers, Bill and Sue, and had an idyllic childhood in a far too small town that I was anxious to get out of. And I went off to college to study communication, and while I was at Cal Poly in San Luis Obispo, I met the man of my dreams and followed him to Los Angeles. And I worked in publishing for a while, and I kind of enjoyed it. It was the first time I really looked at a job as a career, and can I do this for the rest of my life? And is it feeding all the parts of me that need to be fed? And it really wasn't. And so I quit the job in publishing, and I went completely in another direction. I became a floral designer. And that was a whole lot of fun because I worked for a big Hollywood florist. And so we did the Oscars, we did the Emmys, I decorated the Schwarzenegger's house for Christmas. I always made $10 an hour, and nobody cared that I had a college degree, and I had to work every single weekend, and I was physically fatigued, and I thought, part of what I need in a career is being overfed, and the other parts of it aren't. Maybe at 24 4, I went to my husband and said, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be when I grow up, and I've tried 2 careers and neither were the right ones. What do I do? He goes, it's so obvious to me what you're supposed to be, and I just don't know why it's taking you forever to get to it. As he's cackling at me, he says, you're supposed to be a teacher. And I said, God, you're right. It's so true. And it was the first time that I was able to admit that and not freak out about it. So I started the credential program at Cal State Northridge, and the minute I started, the first class, the first professor I had, the first activity I did, it was so easy and natural for me. It was just in my bloodstream and in my bones, and it just felt like I was home. And so when I graduated CSUN, I was the Student Teacher of the Year for the English department, which was a harbinger of things to come, I suppose. And I came to a job fair, and the school districts were arranged alphabetically in this common multi-purpose room. And the first one, Antelope Valley, their representative was running late, stuck in traffic. So the next table was Burbank Unified. And so I just started with the A's and the B's, and I skipped Antelope Valley because no one was there, and I sat down at the Burbank table, and the woman who is no longer head of human resources, but who was at the time, sat me down, looked at my portfolio, and in 5 minutes she said, you're mine, I want you. She refused to let me go to any other table. Next up was like Canoga Park, and she said, no, you're not going anywhere. I have a job for you. I can have you interviewing with the principal by tomorrow, and we'd like you to come work at Burroughs High School. I took 2 years off to stay at home with my son. I wanted to stay at home until my son was going off to kindergarten, but financially that didn't work out, and my husband had to shove me back to work because we were out of money. I had trained to be a high school English teacher. I had no interest in being a middle school English teacher whatsoever. I had such horrible memories of middle school. It was such an awful time, you know, for me, and I just know what a tough time that is for kids. I had no interest in returning to this jungle. So on the first day of school, I'm here in this classroom, first class of 7th graders, I'm scared to death, and within 2 minutes, I fell head over heels in love with 7th graders. I love 12-year-olds because I am 12 inside. I appreciate their sense of humor and their wacky sensibilities. I laugh at what they laugh at. I empathize with the struggle of trying to figure out who am I today and where am I going tomorrow? What does it all mean?
Because you're traveling so much, and you know, the luggage all looks alike. So when it's going around on that little carousel, that's your luggage. Then you'll be wearing this while you're traveling.
Oh,
yes. And then the Teacher of the Year right there.
After the initial splash, my year of recognition began, and that took me to 9 countries on the globe and 30 US states. I got to meet the president, the vice president, Dr. Biden, the vice president's wife. I got to meet senators, congressmen, Bill Gates. I've been everywhere. I feel like I've met everybody. And the most important part that's been the most fun for me is to get to share the story of the American public school teacher. Becoming the National Teacher of the Year was something that was never on my radar.
It's my privilege to introduce to you the 2012 National Teacher of the Year, Rebecca Mieliwocki.
It's not really anything teachers, I think, go into teaching for. We don't go into it for the accolades or the money or the pats on the back because sadly those don't come an awful lot. So you're really in teaching for your own sense of self-worth and your own need to accomplish something on the planet. And I'm very, very proud that you would seek to honor somebody that believes in the value of public education, that believes in the value of community, that believes that you might have hard work to do, but we can laugh while we're doing it and we can have fun together. And that there's nothing more important really than supporting children and giving them the tools to go be whatever it is they're supposed to be, but to be really good at it, to leave the world a better place when they're done, to have as much joy as possible while they're doing it, and to leave a lasting legacy that is beautiful.
Well, that does it for this edition of Burbank On Demand. Remember, if you saw any story in this show that you'd like to watch again or share with a friend, simply go to burbankca.gov, that's the city's website, and you can watch it on demand. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.